Hello, hi guys. I just want to let you know that this gameplay was captured on my stream yesterday. There was about 5 or 6 people over there with me having a good time. I want to let you know I don't always go undergrounds, but I was 0 LP Masters, and through like 3 games of undergrounds, I was able to be already like 150 LP. You know, pushing back into Grandmaster. I can't play every day, so I'm not back at Challenger yet, but there are some Grandmasters in my lobby. You know, a lot of these people have been Challenger, and they're reclimbing back up, so we're going to get into it, and we're going to be playing an Undergrounds game. I don't usually do this, so I'm going to try to explain my thought process a whole lot more, because Undergrounds is one of the more fun comps to play in the game, but transitioning from Undergrounds into an actual comp is incredibly difficult. Since we were going to force Undergrounds regardless, we grabbed the Kale on the open carousel, and we got a gold opener, which is really important. We're going to be just buying the whole shop here since we have 8 gold, but I'm going to do my best to teach you guys here. Because a lot of the early game is what sets you up for Undergrounds, right? Because you need it in before, like, the first carousel. So we have Ezreal and Kale here. And we hit the upgrade. But I would tell you guys you don't always want to hit the upgrade here. There's instances where you want to keep a 1-star Kale, especially if you want to be lose streaking. You don't want to have the upgraded Kale. Now, here's something to really note, because it's on ×2 speed, right? So we're at 4-1, right? We don't have a Sona, we don't have a Vi. We're at 75% chance odds for a 1 cost here and 25% chance for a 2 cost, right? We have a gold opener here. This is incredibly lucky to be able to make 10 interest, and we're pre-leveling here. I don't talk about pre-leveling a lot in my videos because I really don't do it. The vast majority of my games I follow standard leveling, but we're pre-leveling here because every interval you gain 2 XP, right? So we know going into the next round, we're going to gain 2 XP, and it's going to increase our odds. So we're going to gain the 15% chance for the blue costs and however much for the green costs, meaning that this next shop is rolling at a higher odds for higher tier units, meaning we might find a Sona, we might find a Vi. And this is incredibly important to be able to get the Undergrounds out onto your board in the early game so you can start getting that ticking. I paused here because this is really important for you guys to know. Like, pre-leveling is really important, especially when you want to have an Underground opener. You don't always do it, but in this instance you do. And people wanted me to go over a rune. Sorry for all the pausing, but it's just a bit quick. Since we are going Undergrounds and we want to lose streak, we are going to go consistency. This is the best way to get the most amount of gold, and these other two aren't really going to like make or break our comp, right? We're not going Knife's Edge. We're not going to have any units in the front line because we're going to have Vi and Sona and all that jazz. And Ezreal. It's all AP, so we're not going to go AD. Electric Charge. We're not going to take this because, I mean, we don't really need a combat summoner for losing. It's much better for you to take an Econ Augment. I would even take, like, Rich Gets Richer here. Like, anything that's going to give you a gold injection. So consistency is incredibly huge, especially when we want to lose streak, right? So we're just going to be taking this one. And we're going to be buying whatever's Undergrounds here. We're going to refresh once here, though, as well. Because yep. The reason why we refresh here is we're able to make 10 gold still. And we're rolling at 30 and 15% odds to find either a Vi or a Sona, right? And here's something cool that not a lot of people know. You can trap your Vi in the corner over here. If you're looking at my cursor, you can trap the Vi. I'm even talking to people in stream and telling them this. You can trap your Vi in the corner so she doesn't do anything. So we're going to for sure get the loss streak, right? So this is able to get us cooking because we want to start losing. We want to keep the consistency value. We don't want to be win-losing, win-losing. And that's why also I have the Kale 2 on bench and I have the 2 tier 1 Kales out here. This guy is what I'm worried about. There's some guys here who tried to throw my lose streak for me, and I'm going to try to point out to you when the time comes. But a lot of this is just losing, especially in the early game when your losses don't really mean much. Like, you're going to lose, like, maybe at max, like, 8 HP. And the good part is we get first pick on Carousel. I was even telling in my stream, like, it's bait here to upgrade this Kale. There's no point. All you're gonna do is make your board stronger. I don't want my board stronger. And we're gonna be coming into Carousel, and we're gonna be trying to choose items that and you can see I have no items on my board anyways, by the way. Sometimes you want to min-max, and, like, kill as much of the board as you can to get the most amount, like, of lost streak as you possibly can, but with consistency, I really don't want to coin flip it here. We're talking, like, a shitload of gold if I throw it, right? We want to keep the consistency value up. We're coming into the carousel, and we have a BF sword, so we want to think. We can always grab a tank item, or we can go with what's good with BF sword. We know we're going to want Samira for undergrounds later in the game, and a good neutral item to get is Gunblade, because you can put that on any comp, right? Gunblade's always going to be good, and even if you, like, pivot out of it, right? You're able to make the most out of, like, Gunblade, even if you pivot out into, like, let's say an AP comp, which I doubt you would. But you could with, like, Alistar, Vi, you know, Aegis. And I was starting to scout some of these dudes, and I think one dude sold at this interval. With me scouting, he sold his units on the board, so he only had 3 units. If you guys didn't, or I think he had like 3 or 2. If you guys didn't know this, if you don't have any units out on your board, it's going to automatically place a unit out onto your board. So by him selling his units, he's always going to be down a unit, and I want to keep my underground bonus in. I have, at minimum, I need to have 3 units out on the board. And we're just going to continue the heist, right? One of the biggest things you guys need to learn about... Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Look, he only has 3 units out on the board. And I think he might even sell one here. But this guy wants to keep his loss streak, so that's why I think he sold. So that guy was trying to throw my loss streak for me because he was losing as well. But one thing I want to tell you guys, which is like the key the most important thing about undergrounds, is if you are going for these huge cash outs, you need to try to be going for these huge cash outs into like a neutrals round. What do I mean by that? So we would want to cash out here. So when we come into the neutrals here, now when we're fighting this, we have time to think and time to do stuff. I've lost a lot of my games playing undergrounds due to not having time to spend all the resources. Here's another thing. You guys can lose on neutrals, man. I'm not joking you. I'm glad I put in like the upgraded kale. I've actually lost in neutral rounds before. You don't want your board to be so weak that you can't kill these Krugs, because it will happen to you. And at this point, after getting like 50 interest, I really don't care anymore. I'm like uber duper rich. I don't want to keep taking like gargantuan losses. So I'm going to pre-level here again. So this is like, because I still want to lose, right? I want to lose once more. And then it's going to give me level 6 odds here. And I have a higher chance of like hitting like a 5 cost, right? Like Samira or something like Belveth. But this game's like a really good informational game of how to play like loose streaking with like undergrounds, actually. So we're going to be coming into the carousel here. Now I can pause for you guys. Okay. So if you guys are wondering what we're taking, it's not a surprise here. We're going to be taking Underground Heart. A lot of people don't know this, but you can always manipulate the odds for these things. You have to have the synergy you want out on the board before you come into it, right? So if we wanted Underground Heart, we'd probably have to have Underground out on the board before that combat. So coming into this augment selection, we'd be able to have the chance to get it, right? So that's why when you're not playing undergrounds, you're probably never going to see Underground Heart. When you're not playing other things, you're probably not going to see it, because the game tries to, like, I don't say railroad you, but it tries to help you out a little bit, right? So it's just on the coding. So we're going to take Underground Heart here for the Vi pair. And we're also, you know, for the underground. And I kind of want to hit like a upgrade or 2 here. Because I don't want to keep taking, like, I'm at 50 HP, right? And I'm looking up, if you guys want to start looking at the intervals, right? We're at 3-2, so this is second augment selection. If you don't know this, around 3-2, everybody's level 6. Roughly everybody's around level 6. On certain stages, people are certain levels. So right now, we know we're at, like, the right level where we're supposed to be. And I know I'm starting to be low on HP, right? Like, I'm at 40 HP. And I'm counting the intervals up here, as you can see with my cursor. So we have this fight, this fight, this fight. If you assume we lose 10 HP a fight, we'll be at, like, 10 HP. So we'd lose 30 HP. So we're going to want our cash out going into Wolves here. So we're going to want to lose these 2 and have our cash out going into Wolves. And what we're going to be doing is on 3-5, we're going to probably be leveling up here and rolling down to hit a Samira for 6 underground. Because on 3-5, you can hit level 7 with really good odds for, like 4 costs. And being able to get 6 underground out there is really huge. We're keeping the Sivir on the board so we can get Sure Shot, we know that. because half of these, like, we're starting to hold units on the bench that we need because, and oh, of course, we found a Samira out on Carousel, right? Because, like, we're bottom of the lobby, you get priority on Carousel. So this is how you would get Gigabyss items. You're able to get priority on units you'd want. And I'm just going to level up to 7 here and try to hit Samira too. Because I already had one. Finding 2 more usually isn't that bad. And we're going to just start trying to min-max our board here. Because we're going to start taking, like, super huge losses. But this was a mistake. I should have put Sivir out there for Misfortune, but I wasn't able to think fast enough because I lost out on Ace, and I lost out on the Sure Shot bonus here. I don't think it matters because I have a 2-star 4 cost. And with 6 Undergrounds, the neat thing is, now you're starting to gain a ton of stacks even per win. It's not just per loss. And we're not going to take this heist here. This would be a good heist for like a Samira item, but I didn't want this. The cash out scale, and there is a chart online for you guys to look at, but I think this was a, what was this, a 3 cash out? And I was going to go for like a 4 cash out. Usually you want to go your cash out based off of your standing HP and the interval you're at in the game, right? So usually, if I lost the other combat, I would have hit my cash out coming into Wolves here, which is what we would have wanted. And then we would have time here now to start upgrading our board, transitioning out of this Kale and Sona shit, start getting higher tier units out on the board. But here's the thing that people struggle with the most about Underground, is knowing what units to transition out of into like higher tier stuff, right? So it's kind of cool with like Ezreal and Parallel this set, because you're able to just put him out there as like a sure shot and get the parallel bonus. You really don't have to get rid of Ezreal if you don't want to. But you're going to have to get rid of Sona and Kale. You can keep Vi out there, but sometimes you're going to want to change. And another really big important thing of this game is noticing how I'm positioning, right? This LeBlanc hacker shit is really prevalent right now in the meta. It's really obnoxious and super annoying. The fact that like a 2-star LeBlanc with just like the admin bonuses can like solo a whole board is really annoying. And there's no countering it either, because once she casts her ability, it's not like Morgana stun even does anything, because she'll still cast through it. Here we're coming into the augment selection. We know it's a 3 cost, a 3 cost, and a 4 cost, right? Looking at our things, we don't want Sona, we don't want Alistar. Like, we're really just kind of looking for Samira here. A Samira augment, maybe a Bel'Veth augment, but probably like 9 times out of 10 we're just looking for a Samira augment. Style and Flare is the better augment choice here, and I'll try to go back because it was really quick so you guys can see what the cash out is. It doesn't matter to me what the cash out is here though, guys, by the way, because for 19 HP we're gonna be dying here if we don't take it, right? So we're just going to take this. Like, we can't afford to max greed. I mean, we could lose 1 more technically and get a higher tier cash out at the next stage, but we're really, like, somebody could hit you for 19 and you're just dead. So we're going to be taking this here because we have some time to think after the augment, and we're going to just start slamming these items and playing the best we can. We're going to put Ginsu out on the Samira, and I'll tell you why. I have a Reforge here, and you could really risk it for the biscuit and like try to reforge this Rage Blade into something better, but you're probably not going to get something better than this. And this is like where people run into issues. People try to like min-max and dice roll too much. Sometimes you just have to take what you got and like pray, because I mean, I could reforge this and get like Radiant Zephyr, dude, and I just lost the game, right? Or you could high roll and get like Infinity Edge or like Last Whisper. And at this point, we're just going to start donkey rolling. We're going to start liquidating our board that shit. Like, we're getting the Kales out of here. We know we want to get Aegis out on the board. Echo 2 now. Going to want to get the Sona off the board. And we're almost at Samira 3. And there's 2 ways you can really position around this hacker shit. And I'll try to point it out to you guys. In other games, I've tried teaching you guys standard leveling, so I'm not going to focus on that this game. I'm going to try to focus on, like, hacker positioning and try how to navigate, like, undergrounds in general. You're going to want to, like, there's 2 hexes you can really put your stuff on to deal with, like, like LeBlanc, but dealing with Gnar is like a whole different like issue. We're grabbing the Leona so we can get 4 Aegis out on the board, and we're gonna sell Sona. And we're gonna basically use this component, slap it on Alistar, and reforge the Redemption and the other item for our other Samira too. And at this point, we're like praying that we just hit our shit, right? We're not gonna put the ZZ Rod on Echo because we don't want him to get focused down with Taunt. But you'll see it here, like, there's 2 hexes you can put your Samira on to get away from, like, the LeBlanc shit, honestly. It's right here, because you're not too far forward. She'll target all this shit back here. Or it's where the Leona hex is. So there's 2 ways you can play it. You can either put the Samira here, or the Samira here. Bring your backline back here, and, like, keep some of your front line up here, and keep your back, like, move the front line to the back line a little bit. So when the LeBlanc dashes in, if your Samira's here, or here in like these cubbies, because these are like outlining hexes, she'll start bursting down the front line and focus on like the Echo, and then he'll taunt, and it gives them time to cook. But the issue is you lose to like, you're in a shitty position for like Garen CC and crap like that. So it's something to think about. But in this instance, rocking a second Samira is probably the strongest thing we can do. And at this point, we're just donking. We're one Samira off 3, and I'm gonna be getting cash outs here anyways. We're 19 HP. And at this point, I'm like, give it to me, you damn game, bro. You're letting me down. And the cool part about everybody going this hacker shit, guys, is I think right now you can... And nobody wants to play Samira because she's super clunky. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. She's not like... Samira has a lot of spaghetti code left in the game on purpose, and more dogs even commented about it. Unlike Miss Fortune, Samira's ulti can be interrupted, and it gets really annoying when she like stutters and fucks up your whole game. And we're just rolling here for the Samira, and we hit it. One thing to tell you guys... I made a big mistake here. And I'll tell you what the mistake is. Look. Sorry, I gotta go back. Because you guys might not know this. Sorry, it's on ×2 speed. Son of a gun, man. Sorry. I gotta get better at doing this for you boys. Okay, so I was able to pause it, right? You're going to want to take this Samira off the board and put her on your bench. And I'll tell you why. When you combine this Samira here with these 2 out on the board, it's going to just mix the items. It's not going to keep your Radiant item on her. And you're going to want to keep healing on her. You're going to want to take the Titans off the... Like I high rolled here, by the way. You're going to want to take the Samira off the bench, or off the board, and put her on the bench. So when you combine her with this tier 2 Samira and all these Samiras, it's gonna bounce the Titans off her body and keep these 3 giga good items on her, right? So that's where like I made a mistake here. It could have easily kept the Titans on her, gave her Rage Blade and Giant Slayer, and she could have just died. She didn't have any healing or anything like that. Like, this is a big mistake I made in the game, and hindsight now I'm able to see it. But this is how you bounce items. You just put the Samira on the bench here, and then you would combine her here. So you're gonna see the item, one of the items pops off. That's really important. I could have thrown the game here by doing something dumb. And you're gonna want to just make Bramble on Echo here, and then put Warmogs on them. The reason is because Aegis units get a ton of magic resist as is. So putting Bramble on him basically makes him just a real big tank. What makes the units tanky, just like in the MOBA, is HP and resistances. So he has a ton of HP and he has a ton of resistances, so he's gonna be good here. Or he comes with a ton of magic resist, right? And as you can see, the Samira 3 just starts chewing through the team, man. But she's, in my opinion, one of the worst 3-star 4 costs. Because she's clunky, right? Her ulti can get interrupted. And I wouldn't put it past, like, LeBlanc 3 with this 4 admin shit to actually beat her. Even with the Aegis. So we're trying to position her on these hacker units. the best that we can. So abusing those 2 hexes I told you about. And they're starting to like Mia ping my Samira 3. And the reason is nobody's going Samira. So you're more likely to hit it than you think. But you gotta start going for it, right? Like, you can't just let them keep rolling by you. You gotta start holding on to them, which is really annoying because, you know, it's 4 gold, 8 gold, 12 gold on your bench that you're just not touching. And I rolled past a Garen here because I was losing my mind in-game. And, I was so excited to have a 3-star 4-cost Samira. And we're going to start trying to position around the Gnar. Positioning around Gnar and LeBlanc is different, right? Because, like, LeBlanc will just focus down one unit, but Gnar will AoE hit an area, so if I clump Samira with something, she's just gonna get one shot. And you'll see an instance here where if I didn't move the Samira the way I could, this Gnar 3 would actually beat her and kill her. So even though I have Samira 3, this game isn't already won, right? And it doesn't matter, I'm just going for tank items. I have enough DPS with the Samira rotating through her spell and the Rage Blade cooking. So anything that's like a tank item, I got nothing here. Anything that's a tank item. And this is why positioning matters. Look, the Gnar hops right here. This would have been my Samira, dude. She'd just be insta-dead. So, like, instances like this, and, like, look, Gnar's taking 4 rotations of Samira 3 ulti, dude, with Giant Slayer and, like, 3 damage items. So it goes to show you guys how important positioning is. Even though I have a 3-star Samira, I would have lost that fight there. And we're just donking. We're never going level 9 here in this instance. We're just kind of looking for... I'd have to say Shen and Sivir and Leona, but I already passed up a Sivir. I know, guys, I'm not a perfect gamer. But I would say the big key takeaways for you guys in this game was noticing how I pre-leveled to get out the underground, right? And knowing when to level in certain instances. And even here I was debating on like reforging the Samira items because you can get better than this, but there's no point, right? Like it's gonna do the job it needs to do. But pre-leveling here so you can get out the stuff you need. Positioning's a key one. Rolling down on like levels like 7. Learning to hit your cash outs coming into neutrals so you get time. Because I've had games where I've gotten a 5 or a 6 cash out and it's given me like 150 gold and I have a combat in like 10 seconds and you can't even liquidate your board and gather all the orbs to be able to put your stuff out there. And then like position to, you just don't have time. So that's why when you do these cash outs, you might have to take a subpar cash out so you actually have time on your neutrals to like get it out on the board, you know? And we don't have any more hacker players in the lobby, so we can actually put our Samira in the back line now and let her cook. And somebody was asking me here if putting the items on Ezreal would be better than Sivir 2, and I told him no. It's like the same concept from like last set where having 3 items on Senna 2 was better than having 3 items on Samira 1. It's the same concept, right? Sivir 2 upgraded is going to be stronger than Ezreal 1 in my opinion, especially without parallel. So I hope this was an informative game on how to play Undergrounds, and I hope you guys take something from it. If you want to come by and catch the stream, I've been having a good time with like 5 or 6 guys. You know, don't take that the weird way, but yeah, I've been having a good time with some people stopping by. We've been having some fun. They've been learning and asking questions, so have a good day, guys.